Business Assistant is a small business account system which is designed to work hand in hand with our flagship accounting software, Assistant. During this video, I'll be briefly taking you through the software order process for your clients, initial setup of the company file, as well as showing you how you can transfer data between Assistant and BizAssist, and importing and exporting your client's database. Let's have a look at the logical steps you should follow to get your client up and running. We'll start with the order process. If you are preparing a BizAssist database for a client who is new to BizAssist, you must first order BizAssist on your client's behalf. Let's take a look at the order process. Open a web browser and navigate to the Software Assistant website. Click on the Order button and fill out all of the client's details. For new clients, select New Subscription. The referral code is your username used to register your software. Scroll down and select Business Assistant from the list and enter the amount of copies for the client. Let's enter 1. When purchasing BizAssist for a client, you are entitled to a $110 commission for both the original purchase and any subsequent renewals of BizAssist by your client. To be eligible for this commission, enter the promo code BizAgent in the following field. Once you have finished completing this form, submit and pay for your order. Once payment is completed, your client will receive an email with instructions on how to download and install BizAssist. Let's have a look at the email they will receive. Once the client receives this information, you can create their company file. Transferring client data. If you wish for your client to maintain their business transactions in BizAssist, you must prepare their BizAssist database. The database should have all their accounts and appropriate settings. The transactions entered by your client can be reviewed by you in the way of exchanging the BizAssist company file. After you have purchased your client's license, you have the option of transferring data from Ledger Assistant into BizAssist. This is particularly useful when the client has existing Ledger data, saving you from re-entering transactions manually. This will also transfer the client's personal details, such as name and business details. If the client does not have any existing Ledger data, the transfer will only include the client's personal details. I will transfer a client's Ledger data who already has balances within Ledger Assistant. Let's use Kevin Jones DeMasi as our client. Before I transfer the client's balances, let's have a quick look at their Ledger data. Note the postings and reconciliation balances. We will now transfer Mr. DeMasi's Ledger data to BizAssist. Click on the arrow next to the New button and select BizAssist Data File. The Transferring Data wizard is now shown. The type of accounting period and year ends has been pre-filled with existing data from the Client's Details form. Click on the Next button to continue. Choose which client you wish to borrow the account chart from on this screen. By default, the highlighted client's chart will be selected. Select Next. The final screen shown here is the summary screen. Here you can review your selection and make changes to the details if necessary. There are a few final options listed here. Transfer client's details from Ledger Assistant will transfer all Ledger transactions for the client into BizAssist. This is essentially all of the postings in Ledger Assistant. Update master chart from Ledger Assistant will transfer the master chart from Ledger Assistant to BizAssist. This last option will open BizAssist on completion of the transfer. Let's transfer Mr. DeMasi's transactions. The client's name will be shown at the top of BizAssist. This name reflects the business name shown in the options. The cash book will be empty as we have not yet created any invoices. If I open the Accounts tab, we can see all of the accounts have transferred across, along with our transactions, accounts, and reconciliation values. If we look back at Assistant, Kevin Jones Damasi will now have the BizAssist database saved in his Other Documents folder. Double-clicking on this file will open it in BizAssist. It should be noted, if a ledger record is not available for the selected client, BizAssist will only inherit the client's details, requiring you to prepare the chart of accounts or borrow them from a similar ledger client. Let's transfer a client from Ledger Assistant with no ledger record. I will use the Sir Gideon Vane partnership as our non-ledger client. There is no ledger file present for Gideon, meaning the only information that will transfer across is the client details. Select New and BizAssist data file. We can borrow a set of accounts. This is done to ensure you have a similar chart of accounts in BizAssist. When there is no ledger data, the transfer wizard will untick the Transfer Client's Transaction box by default. Click Next to finish the transfer. Once you have transferred your client's transactions or personal details, you have the option to borrow accounts and financial reports. Borrowing accounts will borrow an account chart from a similarly structured ledger client, saving you creating individual accounts for your client. Updating the financial reports is particularly important when editing your client's financial reports in Ledger Assistant. This option will allow you to transfer financial reports from Ledger Assistant, which you have since created or edited, keeping you up to date. Borrowing of accounts and financial reports. Suppose we want to borrow a separate account chart that contains additional accounts. Let's borrow an account chart from White, RJ, and MA. You will need to select the Tools menu from within BizAssist and Borrow Account Chart. We will borrow the account chart from White, RJ, and MA. Borrowing an account chart is useful when you wish to borrow from a similar ledger client. Click Next. Updating financial reports is done in a similar manner. As we are now using the account chart from White, RJ, and MA, BizAssist will only pick up changes to reports made in Ledger Assistant for this client. If we select Tools and Update Financial Report, we can select the financial report New, which is a cloned report I've created for this client. Press Next to import. Creating and editing accounts. After the borrowing of accounts, you may wish to create a new account in the client chart. The button located here will allow you to do this. To transfer existing accounts from the master chart, use this button. Do this when you want to add accounts to your client chart of accounts that are not already listed. Finally, to edit any existing account details, including account number, name, posting type, etc., use this button. For demonstration purposes, I will transfer accounts 5130 and 7661 from the master chart. Tick the accounts and press the transfer button. Customers and contacts. You may want to create customers and suppliers that your client does business with. I have already created some sample contacts. If you wish to create a customer, click on the New button and enter the details of a contact, supplier, or customer. If I highlight a contact, we can see their information at the bottom of the screen. Notice our miscellaneous contact. Creating a miscellaneous contact is useful when dealing with once-of transactions. This helps structure your contact list to help you avoid creating contacts you may not use for any other transactions. Let's create an opening balance for one of our contacts, Tom Miller. Click on the cash book. Select Sales, Invoice to Customer. From the Customer drop-down box, we will select Tom Miller. Notice that Sam's Tiles is not displayed as they were listed as a supplier and not a customer. We will enter opening in the invoice number field as this is an opening balance rather than an actual invoice. To enter a transaction, begin by placing your mouse cursor in the description field. Suppose Tom Miller had an opening balance of $555 in his check account. Enter a description of the event. Let's say opening balance. We will add this to account 1360 trade debtors with a balance owing amount of $555. If we click on the tick button, the invoice will be updated. Press the OK button to finalise the invoice. Notice in the cash book, we now have an invoice record with an amount of $555 due from Tom Miller. If we look at our postings, we can see the record listed. Let's create an opening balance for our supplier, Sam's Tiles. Select the Purchases tab, and then Order, Invoice from Supplier. Repeat the same process as with our customer. Suppose Sam's Tiles had an opening balance of $1,000 in his check account. Select our supplier, Sam's Tiles. The supplier invoice number will be opening, and enter a transaction. Let's enter a new balance owing of $1,000 to account 3130 trade creditors. If we finalise this record, we can view it in the cash book and posting screens. It should be noted, when creating opening balances, you should use accounts 1360 trade debtors and 3130 trade creditors rather than using specific income accounts. This is to ensure we only update the contact balances and not the balances in our account chart. Advanced options. Before you send your client their company file, you should disable advanced options within BizAssist. This will hide accounts, postings and reconciliation tabs, as well as financial reports, transfer financial reports, and transfer account chart options for clients that have not registered Ledger Assistant. This allows you to manage their accounts, adjustments, and asset depreciation items. When creating a new database, these options will be enabled by default. As this file has been transferred from Assistant, advanced options are disabled by default when the file is saved. A client who does not have Ledger Assistant registered will not see the above mentioned options. To disable or enable the advanced options, open BizAssist Options. Select the Setup tab. Tick or untick Show Advanced Options. Importing, exporting, and emailing the company file. Once you have finished with your client's company file, you will want to send them a copy. You can choose to either export their file and email it to your client in the email software of your choice, or automatically email the company file using Microsoft Outlook. Let's have a quick look at how to import, export, and email your clients their company files. When you want to email your client their company file using Microsoft Outlook, select File, Export Data, and Email Company File. Alternatively, select File, Export Data, and BizAssist Company File. Attach the file to an email in the email software of your choice. If your client has emailed you their company file, you will need to import it into BizAssist to make changes. To do this, select File, Import Data, BizAssist Company File. This concludes the introductory presentation on BizAssist.